we're ready, though.
So ready.
Hey.
Look at who just joined us. Not a celebrity being our first viewer. Hey, sis. I feel like I've been seeing Hayes' face all day today. We love it.
Who that?
Oh, that is... Oh, here we go. That's Shonda. That's Shonda. How you doing, Shonda?
Nice.
All right. So, guys, we are back. Oh, is that mom? Is
that my mom?
Well, y'all, welcome back to the JB'scapades. I am Jay.
I'm B.
And we've been gone for a minute, but we're back with the jump off. So
right,
yes,
in person.
So we got a fefew updates.
Right.
A few. You want to get us started?
Sure. So I got vaccinated. If you follow us, you know that I was stuck at home for a lot of the pandemic, and Harlem Shake, on demand.
On demand Harlem Shake. Two Harlem girls, you can't stop us.
Yeah. This is gonna be a different type of recording.
It is. But, so she's Team Moderna.
I'm Team Moderna. For those of you who care, and I'm just so happy to be able to leave my house safely, or at least what I consider safe. Yeah. Y'all be safe. And so that's one. You wanna.
I'm vaccinated, y'all, too. So that was a big update for me. Y'all know I've been in these streets, but safely. I've been in my streets, I mean the gathering spot, right? Streets. It's like, I be, wearing my mask, but I'm also in Atlanta. Yes, I, too, am glad we get to film together. It's been a season. It's been a journey.
Girl, like 8 months or something.
But we here. We here with updates for y'all. We're here to dive deeper into a topic that we both have experienced, and that based on who has joined us so far, we know y'all are the type of people who can relate to what we're going to be talking about. But just wanted to give y'all some more updates so y'all know where to follow my girl Bridge, because she's been doing big things outside of the JB'scapades. You want to tell the people about a little project you got going?
So for all of my Black and POC,
that's all of them. That's all these people.
So for everyone. Yes. For everyone who's watching us and supporting us, I and my sisters, we've been working on a business throughout the pandemic. Almost a year ago, we got together, and very soon we will be launching a community, and a virtual community for those of us who are Black, of color, and pursuing, applying, interested, got a business, for those in the MBA degree community.
Yes.
It's called UniHive, and we are on Instagram. So please go ahead and follow us. If you know of anyone who is pursuing their degree or anyone who just graduated, props for making it through the pandemic and getting a degree. Yes. Go ahead and have them join us at UniHive app, one word, on Instagram. But we also have a website, www.unihive.app.
And these are for people who want to go to business school, right?
Want to go, are going right now, graduated, started a freaking enterprise, or are like, senior exec level, or just got their first gig with a degree. Whatever stage you're at, we're trying to build a community of Black folk, people of color who can kind of connect with each other at any stage of the game.
Dope.
Thank you.
And Bridget has inspired me to take my stuff to another level. Are we still over here? We're here. We're not here.
We're not there. That's
it's okay. Fine. Tech. We're working on, that's just...
Because we'll just upload this one.
Hello.
That's all it is.
Hello.
Yes.
We'll be fine. So Bridget has inspired me to, take what I'm doing in my big girl job to a more professional setting for, I guess, just working, instead of just working for somebody else, working for myself by using those skills over there. So I will be consulting.
Yes. She coming over to the dark side, y'all.
Coming over to the dark side. So
the money side.
Hello.
Where the money resides.
I would love to be where the money resides. Yes. So y'all know I'm a fundraiser by day, and we talked about this in the episode, Who Are These Hoes? It's us. It's us. So I will be working with nonprofits that are serving Black people, Black youth, communities, and I can't even say communities of color. It is specifically Black and brown people. So I'm going to be consulting them and being really the fundraiser they have on staff. What I've found about so many of our nonprofits serving the community is they find somebody who's good with money and they assign that person, to fundraising. And I'm 10 years in the game and I've identified these nonprofits and have said, hey,
y'all could use me.
Y'all could use me, and that's what I'm into now. So if you work with nonprofits, if you are a part of a nonprofit, come holler at your girl, because I do free consulting in the beginning, just to make sure we on the same page, and then we start talking about how we can both be where the money resides. Amen?
Right.
Amen. All right. So we got some stuff in the works. We'll continue to share with you all. You can continue to follow us here on my page. You can follow Bridget at Bridge_it or and the JB'scapades, but also Uni
have app.
Unihive app.
One word.
Yes. All right, y'all. So for today's episode, we are following up on this idea of achievement guilt. And in the chat, I want y'all to tell me. So when we say achievement guilt, like, what does that mean to y'all? What are your experiences with achievement guilt? That's the conversation we want to have today. And how we've been defining it is when you make it, right? You or somebody that you are close to in your family, y'all are the first generation to really make it and make the family proud, achieve some level of success. And what does it look like to then reach back? And there's this idea that when we make it, we feel guilty for being the one to make it. And the reference we had really starting the conversation was from a show called Survivor's Remorse. So if y'all got Starz or y'all borrowing somebody's Starz, you can put that in the chat. Let us know if you have seen Survivor's Remorse. We want to know who we have with us today. But prior to us having this conversation, Bridge, what was where did your idea around Survivor's guilt or Survivor's Remorse, achievement guilt, where did that come from?
So my thinking around it was that you are
putting everybody on. We see
yes,
you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. That you are. Oh man, who was it? The Talented 10th.
Oh,
that
girl.
whole philosophy.
We got some talented 10th folks.
Right. If you subscribe or if you aspire to. If you will, be part of the Talented 10th. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that there's been a lot of conversation about the Talented 10th. And
let's tell the people. Let's talk about
the Talented 10th. The 10% of Negroes.
Come on, Negroes on a Friday night. We were telling y'all about,
because was it Du Bois?
It was Du Bois.
Okay.
Wait, so, what was it? Give it to us again.
Du Bois.
You hear that French because she's a romance language major.
So Du Bois. If you will, philosophy around, the 10% of Negroes who would uplift the race and that kind of language and that kind of thinking. I personally, sometimes it vibes, others it doesn't, but there is...
Cameron laughing at us. Because Cameron, you know about this Talented 10. Hey, Shayla.
Right, but that there is something to that, right? Especially in present day, especially given what's going on in the culture, what's happening in this country, the idea that there is a group of people, Black people specifically, who are achieving at rates that are so much different from the rest of the population. Not because the Talented 10th are better or what have you. And I will stop using that phrase, but
it is a historical reference.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he was referring to them as. The Talented 10th. Oh, y'all about this. And we're not saying that we support that narrative. We're just saying we've been in spaces where that has been the accepted narrative around Black achievement.
And we're actually trying to undo that, right? So the whole thing about achievement guilt is that you are meant to widen that gap.
You want to shorten the gap. You want to bridge the gap. Bridge the gap.
Bridge the gap between, the folk who ain't got it, the folk who have it and are trying to figure it out. Yeah. And kind of have more of us more of us succeeding and achieving. But with that, with being the first, there comes so much responsibility to your people that maybe other cultures don't experience the way that we do. So that's kind of my thinking around that. Like, you're not only supposed to strive and achieve, which I'm sure is not just specific to our culture, but you're also supposed to bring people with you, right?
Put the team on your back.
Right. Each one teach one. It's a tribe. It takes a village. Like, that is always part of who we are. That's in our DNA. You don't just make it. Like, you don't just make it. It's not just your success. And so I think a lot of that has to do or directly correlates with this topic.
Right. As Karen said, you know, so much responsibility on the first person to make it, or that first generation to make it. Hey, you know, we have to give back where other cultures
are given to. We're not there. We're not there. So yeah, there's some stress there. I think it applies to the folks from the diaspora. Yeah, when folks in the village save up money to send someone to the States.
Come on, and Shayla from Chicago. You better put us on. You better talk to Chicago, Ashley Hayes, Miss Mars, y'all connect. Chicago, I've been trying to introduce y'all. Anyway. So when I first saw Survivor's Remorse, I instantly was able to resonate with the storyline. First of all, I love basketball, so if any of y'all know me, you know that's my thing. But I grew up in a basketball family, right? So that's how the show was able to draw me in. And there's this all-star cast that's, I mean, some up-and-coming actors, but you got Tashina Arnold, you know?
Yes.
And Jesse Usher is, I think, the guy's name of the main character. And then if you ever watch Sister, it was Tia's boyfriend.
Yeah, and then the woman from A Different World, that actress.
Dawn. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's also there looking excellent.
Not like what she's been through. And Mike Epps, my favorite. My favorite.
You know, he aging like...
Fine one.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to him.
Indiana.
I'm not going to give it to him, but he looks
you gonna
good.
what?
I'm not nothing. I didn't say nothing. I'm in a happy relationship.
Yes. And this is what happens when I'm with... Okay.
Nothing.
Right. So, just so you guys have a little more context, in the show Survivor's Remorse, the main characters that they, you know, dive into are Cam. So Cam is the one who makes it to the NBA. He's on what would be the Atlanta Hawks, if you will.
Yeah.
Then you got...
his sister.
Come on, what's her name?
Sister, Mary Charles, right? So he's bringing his family with him, is the whole thing. And that's actually his team. They're like his management team.
Right.
So everyone plays a different role. Some people don't have roles at all.
Right.
And that's kind of the struggle too, right?
Yeah. It's like bringing people on who you feel need to be in the room, but they don't really have the skill set to help you get where you need to be. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too.
So there's the sister... M. Chuck. See, I knew it.
Yeah.
I said she had a nickname.
Because Charles and Mary
Chuck.
Got it.
M. Chuck.
See,
so I was looking for it.
She be knowing.
Right. So there's Mary Charles.
And then we have my favorite, Uncle Jay, a.k.a.
the messy one.
He's the messy and the high one, you know, but I love it. I stand.
He's great.
And then lastly,
Reggie is the agent for all intents and purposes. He's like the wall between... or the middle man, the support, the one who has probably the most experience with what Cam is about to pursue or, you know, in the industry.
Right. Okay, so with that said, who is the character you resonate with the most and why? And for y'all, if you have seen the show before, let us know, who do you resonate with? And then based on how we're describing these characters, like, who do you feel like you see yourself in? But if you have seen the show, who do you resonate with the most and why? But I'll pass it on to
right. And we won't cover like too much of what was going on through the season.
Because it's not a spoiler. This is not a spoiler as much as it is a conversation starter around achievement, guilt, and how it has shown up in film.
Yes.
Or TV in this case.
Right. So for me, the character that I most relate to is actually Reggie, Cam's cousin. He seems to be the most grounded figure and the one that Cam looks to for guidance. And he's the one who like is troubleshooting. Anytime something goes wrong, the family's immediately, Reggie, how you gonna do this? How you gonna handle this? And the why of it is pretty obvious. Like, I actually am that person in my family. So
I've witnessed her be that person.
Right. Who do we relate to the most, right? And there's something to Reggie's character, too, that I'm not sure if they're going to develop more. But I feel like there's a part of Reggie that's also afraid of Cam losing his success. Because it means that Reggie's not successful at what he does, but also that in a way he's failed the family. So there's some of that I feel a little bit as well. Like, I'm not sure that I might be reading too much into it, but I feel like he's probably more afraid than if he were representing somebody else, someone who's not family.
Now, the stakes are higher.
Right, the stakes are higher. This is family.
Right.
And so I'll leave it there.
Got it. Well, so Hayes says she resonates most with the ball player, so Cam, and a little bit of Reggie.
Right.
So feel free to elaborate if you want to, sis. But if not, I can see this. I see that Cam, and I see a little bit of Reggie because she got that business acumen.
Yes.
But hey, all right. So
who do you relate to?
I would say Uncle Jay, not just because Mike Epps is fine and I love him, and if he asked me to marry him
Joan
tomorrow.
is essentially saying Mike Epps is fine and I am also fine. You see what happened there? He's fine. I am also fine.
And, I would like to be where he resides. Like some people want to be where the money resides. I want to be where Mike Epps resides. But that's another conversation. So, anyway, no, but I do resonate so much with his character in this current stage of my life, right? There were times in my life where I felt like I could relate to Cam a little more. But I love that Uncle Jay is really just somebody who is guilt-free in how he advises Cam. He's basically, I think it was episode 2 where he's telling Cam, it's not your fault that these people back home didn't make it. And I had to sit with that in certain situations with my family, with, my friends back home, looking at people who I graduated from high school with, right? And our lives have ended up so different, but that's not my fault. I did the work. In some cases, I've even extended a hand back. But Uncle Jay just had this attitude, this mindset of, hey, let's celebrate where you are right now. You've put in this work. And that's how I celebrate my friends. When my friends make it, I'm the one who says, all right, and how do we celebrate this victory instead of sitting in what we're doing wrong, right? Because when you are the first to achieve, it could feel wrong. Because no one prepares you for what success is supposed to feel like.
Right.
And no one prepares you for what that responsibility is supposed to entail. So I love that he didn't have all the answers, but he still came in and was like, hey, I'm guilt-free, you should be guilt-free, and we're going to live this guilt-free life together. Right. Help people where you can. He was basically affirming him and saying, it's good to have this heart that you have, but don't let that cripple you from being and enjoying what you've worked so hard for.
He's an advocate for balance, basically.
Yeah, for balance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, okay, so on the flip side, who was the hardest person to resonate with? And this is for y'all too, so it's easy to think about who you're reminded of and who you resonate with the most, but who is it the hardest to empathize with? Yeah. So for you, who would that be?
For me, it was M. Chuck.
Okay.
Which is tough because she is supposed to be a really strong figure in Cam's life as his older sister and the one who watched him grow up and support him. Mm-hmm. So essentially, she's supposed to be his rock.
Yeah.
But oftentimes I find M. Chuck actually manipulating Cam into giving her money, providing her with opportunities, just off the strength of, I'm your big sister.
Yeah.
I don't have older siblings, and I definitely do not do that to my siblings.
Right.
To my younger siblings. So I found it really tough to process when M. Chuck, for example, would kind of point at really traumatic stuff that happened. Like stuff that like Cam should be in therapy for, the whole family should be processing.
Family therapy, yeah.
And she'll just flat out be like, oh, so you're not going to give me what I'm asking you for. Remember when I did this for you? Remember when I did that whole thing?
And took it back to their childhood.
And to trauma. She's not even talking about remember when I did you that one little favor or lent you some cash. She's talking about really deeply personal and traumatic experiences that they had together.
Right.
And it's working. Right. So, like, I want to believe.
Why do you think he is working? Because I have my theories, but why do you think it works and she's so effective at manipulating him?
Oh my gosh, older sister, right? Like, for me, I'm like, I could.
But you use your powers for good.
With great power, right? So, as the person who's supposed to be responsible, and this is where some guilt comes into play too, right? Yeah. That's not to say that M. Chuck doesn't feel guilty about, okay, I wasn't able to in all the times protect my younger brother. I wasn't always able to. But she doesn't seem to process that with him. The times when she interacts with him about stuff that she may have regrets about, she makes it sound like, I went through that for you.
Yeah.
And he's a baby.
Right.
You know, essentially, for all intents and purposes, she blocked him from a lot of stuff, is what it sounds like. Mm-hmm. So he didn't actually get to step up in those situations, and he might have even forgotten some of them. I'm thinking of one in particular where she's talking about, like, a sexually traumatic thing, and I'm like, he doesn't seem to even remember, like, exactly the details of this, and why are you bringing it up? And she was bringing it up for some money. So I was like, I hope and pray I don't know anyone. Yeah. And no one in my life has been an M. Chuck, and I just didn't know it. I sincerely hope I don't meet anyone, I don't come across anyone, and no one's in my life in particular who would do something like that. That said, there are some things that I feel like are to be determined about her character. She's obviously been through some stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want to write her off completely.
Right. No, I agree with you. She was definitely somebody who was hard to relate to. First of all, I don't have siblings, and we talked about this in part one of the episode where we were... And I can acknowledge that with Bridge, you know, there is a great responsibility in being that first to make it. And we acknowledge that for me, with me being the only one in my family, the only child, there's a pressure there as well. So you have to succeed because all bets are on you. But what I would say is who I resonated with the least, or who I was least able to empathize with was, it had to be the characters back home. Not necessarily anybody specifically, but there were characters back. Well, no, it was and I can't think of his name, but it was the guy in the first 2 episodes, I think. And you see, there's a scene where his house gets not broken into. He owes somebody some money, and if you've ever done dealings back in the hood, that I've only seen it on TV. I don't know. Hello.
I don't know personally.
We don't know. We don't know these people. We don't listen. We're gonna cut this part of the episode. But there's that scene where you can tell he's been mismanaging his money and now wants to manipulate Cam. It all goes back to this manipulation of the person with the money. And I haven't been able to resonate with that because I always want to see people from the hood win. Mm-hmm. And there have been things that have happened to me, or, you know, there may be somebody who is a big name in, you know, from our community or from, you know, a certain group of people that I rock with. And I may know that person's toxic. I may know that person's not actually a good person. I've seen how they've done people. I've seen how they've done me. But when they make it, it's never felt like my job to bring them down because my feelings were hurt. Now, it's different if this is somebody who's out here, you know. Cam wasn't a bad guy. He was a 12-year-old.
He was a kid.
You know, smoking, doing things that 12-year-olds...
12-year-old hood shit.
Right. And when you're uneducated and you're not around people who don't look like you, you know, he was making ignorant comments that we have all heard people make when they're in communities that look just like them, when they're in, homogenous communities. Right. So I was able to relate to Cam in ways that I wasn't able to relate to the people who wanted to tear him down. Because I'm like, we're all in this together, and when one of us win, we all win. That's how I've seen it.
Right.
All right. So I guess lastly, which lessons resonate? Because there are some lessons in this show. So which lessons would you say resonate the most with you from what you've seen so far? Now, I've had the privilege of seeing all 4 seasons, but I'm catching back up for these purposes. Right. So what lessons stood out the most to you?
So I've spoken less about Cam, but I feel like he's in a very tough place. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what I'm picking up on is related to his experience. And we talked a little bit about Cam in particular, but mm-hmm. what I'm really kind of paying attention to and trying to learn through him, meaning mm-hmm. like I don't want to learn these lessons the hard way. So I'm mm-hmm. going to try to take it from TV. Yeah. Right. But in this case, it seems as if Cam or his... Cam is a little bit naive, right? Just a little bit. Right? Just a tinge. So yeah. Cam thinks that reaching back because he has the money means mm-hmm. that he has to pay or he has to use that money to kind of give back. And so he hasn't quite realized or recognized that there are other ways to contribute to his community back home. Mm-hmm. So, for example, he wants to pay off his aunt's surgery, which I'm pretty sure isn't like a needed surgery. He wants to like buy someone a bus or a car back home. And those things are superficial, mm-hmm. right? You don't ever hear him like calling these people on the phone and asking how they're doing. Right. And so I think it's something to be mindful of as we achieve that the guilt will make us do things that maybe nobody necessarily asked us to do. Come on. In part, right? So yeah, some people are going to ask you for cash and like for your secret to success or for advice, what have you. But others just want to connect with you. They want to know that the connection is genuine and that you're actually still paying attention to your relationship. Mm-hmm. And money has nothing to do with it. So that's kind of what I'm trying to be mindful of as I achieve by my own standards, right? Because I'm not trying to be a TV star. I'm not trying to be a basketballer. My little plan for success is actually taking over the world. But once I take over...
Just a little plan. It's just a little plan for success.
Right? So yes, with my little plan to take over the world, I got to mm-hmm. make sure that I'm staying true to my core values. And mm-hmm. one of those values is family, right? And not blood, but like family. Yeah. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean I'm throwing money back at the community necessarily. Right.
Because what does that solve? What is it solve to just cut the check?
Right. For a lot of people, it doesn't solve anything. And in fact, devalues your relationships with the people back home. Or it's transactional. People. Right. It's so transactional. So that's kind of one of the biggest lessons that I want to not forget in watching the show. What about you?
I would say it's that blood is not always thicker than water. We say that often, and I think it's another tool of manipulation when families use that. Blood is thicker than water. Family always has your back. Family is always going to have your best interests at heart. But how can family have my best interest? Family can have my best interests at heart, but how can family operate on that and act on that when they don't have the tools? Right? There are people who I believe are rooting for me, and however Band-Aids, they can, right? A long-term investment versus Band-Aids. Exactly, right? So there are people who can invest in me long term because they actually know they're in this. They're educated in these areas. When I bought my first, when property became a thing that was on my mind, or, when I picked up a second stream of income, life became different for me. And I had to start surrounding myself with people who knew how to manage assets, knew how to manage wealth, because Google is there, right? But as much as I love my dad, as much as I love my mom, as much as I love my family, they can root for you, but they cannot help you do a thing they've never done and that they've never seen done. So a part of this achievement guilt is realizing when you're the first, you have to surround yourself with people outside of the people you may feel the most comfortable with, right? Like Cam feels most comfortable with his top 4, which are his family members who've been with him
but
shooting in the
no
gym.
Experience.
Right. It's like these people don't know anything about money. He's literally he's finding jobs for them to do, and our families will. I mean, and don't get me wrong, like I'm gonna use Hayes as an example because she's here now. Hayes' mama will put on a set. You hear me? She will design the heck out of.
That's her strength, though.
And so that this is an example of somebody who is a performer, and her mom can then come in and add to that, bringing her gifts to the table. Everybody's mama can't put together a dope design set. You know, everybody's daddy doesn't have the financial literacy to help them manage their wealth like Beyonce. Like everybody ain't Matthew Knowles. Like he had
the vision.
He had the vision. So there are just things that I will always value about my family outside of my blood relatives when it comes to taking me to that next level. And the show, I think a big part of the show is us realizing that though they are related to you by blood, it doesn't mean they can have your best interest at heart, but are they going to help you maintain what you've achieved, and are they going to help you take it to another level?
Right.
If they've never done it.
Are they playing to their strengths, but also is it then your responsibility to train them up, right? So he's going to give them jobs, but like, is he actually going to have them shadow people in the industry? And is he going to do all of that? Because that's another job.
Key, right.
It's another job.
But then there's that expectation that the first to make it already has those answers. Yeah. How would he have known? And like, how could either
He's literally younger than everyone involved.
Right.
He's the baby. So
and when you're the first and you are dealing with that achievement guilt of being the first, you have to do your research and you have to surround yourself by people who don't mind putting you up on game. And what a big lesson from the show is that's not always your family, and 9 times out of 10 it won't be. Yeah. And that has to be fine. That has to be fine.
That's fine.
So I would say, those are the major nuggets for me. And we just wanted to follow up with some context. We were talking about achievement guilt from a very personal lens, in the first part of the episode. But film, TV, media does a really good job of highlighting real life experiences that we don't talk about every day. So we wanted to find something tangible that you all may have seen, that you all may be able to relate to, and really break that down. Because if you're dealing with achievement guilt but didn't have a name for it, right? Mm-hmm. We want you to know you're not in this alone, and we want to have this conversation, especially those first generation, anything. First gen grads, first gen, US, like the first person in your family to make 6 figures, to own property, to do whatever. It is completely fine to be lost. Right. Or to acknowledge that you are lost.
And that you're not necessarily going to be capable for a while. You're not going to be able to provide share what what you're learning on demand, right? Ooh. With your family as much as you would like to.
Come on.
You want to bring some people with you, it's going to have to look
but everybody can't come. And what I heard somebody tell me, some more Chicago wisdom, not only can everybody not come, everybody shouldn't come.
Because some people have their own journey. So say he's enabling his family, then what could they have been doing? How could they have been thriving otherwise if he didn't bring them along forcibly if he didn't pull them along with him and give them roles for all and stuff, like, would they have made it? Would they have achieved success by their own standards, or would they be salty about Cam, the star who left me behind?
Right.
You never know someone's potential, but you're also not responsible for anyone's potential.
Right. So any of our followers who are the first, if you have dealt with this achievement guilt, we want you to share this out. We want you to really just bring other people into the conversation. Have these conversations with your friends. Have these conversations with other people. Because what I'm finding is that you surround yourself by people who are doing something similar to what you're doing, right? So I've experienced achievement guilt. So is my bestie, right? The people who we are around background are, they tend to experience it but may not have the language.
Or the community, which is kind of what we're here to do, right?
Yes. So we thank y'all for, just joining us, contributing to the conversation tonight. We are going to, keep having this conversation, and we're going to post this. So like, share, subscribe, go to our YouTube page, JB'scapades, and you can follow, share it. And we're going to be posting episodes directly to Instagram and to YouTube, but we want you to, that's going to be the main hub. YouTube is going to be the main hub. Right. So anything else, best friend?
We are still in a pandemic.
Okay.
So even with this topic,
come on,
we do want to be sensitive to everyone's emotional.
Yes.
Wherever you are emotionally, like achieving is personal. It's very freaking personal. We're still in a pandemic. People are still going through really difficult times. And this topic is near and dear because those of us who are driven by like whatever that idea of success is, or like constantly trying to reach, it's been a really tough season for anyone probably in that boat. And I'm only saying that because I'm coming from that perspective.
Yeah.
So be gentle, which we've said many times. Like this conversation is not meant to poke and prod at your fears about why you're not succeeding right now and why you're not doing what you want to be doing. That's not really what we're trying to accomplish here. We're just trying to serve the people who are going through this it's a lifelong process of being the first, trying new things, being open-minded. Like that's never going to end if that's part of your personality.
Right.
So we're just here to speak to the issue, and put it out there, not to press you about your goals. So
we just want to love on you and affirm you where you at. Okay, that's what we here for.
That's it.
Okay, but y'all be blessed, stay black, stay beautiful, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Bye, y'all. How do we? I feel so old. I just X out? Awesome.
Look at us.
Auntie, we're aunties. And we